Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Gooner Gathering. We are back with another review stroke preview show. I am your host. I'm Lee, joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment today. I have Posh Bertie to my right. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you?
I'm
Did you
all
just-
right. Slightly
Yes.
stressed.
I was going to say, did Posh Bertie just deliberately do like not a posh hello? You were like, hello, how are you?
Oh, did I break
Yeah,
character
yeah,
there? I'm ever so sorry. I shall try and talk like a good old Etonian from now on.
proper
like
proper
I'm
Englishman,
doing.
if you will.
Sorry,
But-
right, carry on.
Please don't make me as more stressed than I already am. I tell you what, I have had such fun trying to get here for 7 o'clock, and honestly, I have had no time to prepare anything. I have literally just managed to get here, so we've just managed to lose our viewer, so that's good. So
Right.
That's probably my fault. That's probably my fault.
I'll watch it on my phone. I'll try and get that viewer back then.
thank you so much, Posh. That's really kind of you, and we are privileged to have the extremely talented and the lovely Fran with us today. How are you, Fran?
Hello, I'm okay. Yeah, really excited about. Really excited about getting our final thoughts on Brentford and going forward into this massive game against Man City. I'm super nervous about it. I can't wait to. What's the expression like? Chew the corn with you guys.
Chew the fat.
Chew the
I
fat
will-
with you guys and give me some reason because I'm panicking.
Yeah, I saw that on your stream yesterday, mate. I
Oh.
did see that.
It wasn't a good day yesterday though. I was very emotional yesterday, and then I went on stream and it was a bit much. But you know, that's take it as I am. You know, all
Well,
that.
As organic as that stream was, Fran, don't you worry. You are our guest here. You just take it easy, enjoy yourself like we always do here. I'm sure we can just draw a line under everything.
Yes, my views, my views yesterday on my emotional stream do not reflect my views today.
Well, listen, I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Can't wait.
But let's go from the very beginning. Actually, do you know what? Niall Kane said, "Thank you, Posh. That was very good of you. You were very quick on the mark there, mate. Appreciate your work." Niall Kane in the
Excellent
chat
stress
as
off
ever.
you.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm not looking at it at all. I mean, my hair's just about intact. It's far too much of it, to be fair. I'm sporting the old John Travolta look today, I think. I might have to do another TikTok video. I don't know. But
Are you gonna? Are you, does that mean you're gonna dance as well then?
well,
I've given you an idea, haven't I?
Only if I can find somebody to dance with.
I've got nothing, I'm afraid.
No, fair enough. But I mean, it'd be very suitable, wouldn't it? It's Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow. Got to have dances and everything. I'll do a nice viral little, I don't know, kick back and do a little twirl or something. I don't know. We'll see what's happening. I don't know what I'm saying. I think we probably should talk about football rather than anything else. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I liked the dance talk, but yeah, I imagine our viewers are here for football. We'll do a dance stream next time.
Yeah, that's coming up, as well as us doing some musical sort of.
I can
thing.
assure you, I will not be part of the dance stream. Let me tell you that now.
Fair enough. Well, let me just.
Analysed.
There we go. Arsenal analysed in the chat. Posh, do you want to take charge of the chat for me? That would be very. I understand,
No
Fran.
worries,
Am
I
I
will.
right in saying that you are going to be on Arsenal analysed later on?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do any streaming today, right? Because I was so tired and stressed out. And then you guys asked me, I went, oh heck it, like go on. And then Arsenal analysed. Ryan, I think it's asked me as well. I went, well, I might as well do both. I'm so excited. I'm
Be
so
Ryan
excited.
Fletcher by any chance?
No,
Or is that another Ryan?
different Ryan.
Different Ryan.
But correct us if we're wrong. I'm so bad at remembering names. I know your channel name, but I'm bad with first names.
Cool. Anyone else in the chat before I get into it, Posh?
There's a channel called Goal Artso in the chat.
I've heard about them.
Saying hello to Niall.
Do you know
I've heard
what?
about them too. Quite good,
Do you know
apparently.
what?
Did a
Do you know
stream
what I
yesterday.
think?
Check it out.
I think everyone that is watching our stream should, first and foremost, make sure they're hitting the subscribe button, not just on us, but when we are done, go to Fran's channel, go Larzo, as she says, and give her a good time. She had a lovely stream yesterday. Hello, something's coming up on the screen. What's happened there?
Oh, thank you, Niall.
There you go. See, do you know what, Fran? And I've done a few of these solo myself. I did one post Brentford. And when you go solo, or start solo, or even hosting these things, sometimes it's quite stressful, isn't it? You got so much going on here. You got so much going on in the chat.
Yeah,
do you know what? The best thing you can do is enjoy it and just have a good time. And much like myself and Posh, we're professional streamers, right?
Absolutely.
You have to maintain that professionalism all the way through.
Yep.
Right. Cool. So let's jump into it. Let's talk. We get it out of the way because obviously there's going to be a lot to talk about in this stream. I think the best place to start would be starting lineups for Arsenal. Obviously, we're an Arsenal channel. Thank you very much, by the way, for everyone that's watching. Appreciate all your likes and everything like that. So, I do believe if I hit that button there, it's that same starting lineup again, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the same starting lineup that had a little struggle and a little wobble over the last couple of days, couple of games, I should say. Hello.
I'd like to make a point. So we saw recently that Arteta made those comments about when he was injured. How which boss was he under? I think it was it Wenger?
But like, Wenger,
yeah. Let him stay on for the rest of the season and heal. And like from that, even though he was injured before he was sold, I think that's the story. So from that, he earned this big thing about loyalty and like respecting the players and like keeping faith. And whereas I wonder sometimes, does that loyalty, is that prioritized over perhaps form? So who may have actually been in form or out of form recently, is he being too loyal perhaps? That's my only question about keeping the same lineup, and it would be interesting to see if he changes it on Wednesday.
Well, we'll get into Wednesday in just a bit. Posh.
No, I was going to say, I mean, he doesn't have much choice up front because you only have one striker. And Eddie in the last few games he's been a bit quiet, unfortunately. So you can't really change that.
You could say he's been quiet, but you could also say that the last few games, there's this rumor going around that people have sussed out how to quiet us down. So basically double mark the wingers and like overcrowd the midfield so that Nketiah gets no service. And I think he's less versatile perhaps than Jesus, who's all over the place. So when that does happen, Eddie's not superhuman. And
absolutely, we're missing that creativity, that little bit of creativity without Jesus. I mean, we were all right with it at first, but in the long run, I think we need someone like Jesus to try and get some more creativity in the team.
Yes, I think he adds an element of unpredictability, whereas Nketiah stays quite central, and so teams have come up with this format, if you will, on how to nullify us a little bit. So that's why we really need Jesus or Eddie to mix it up a little, or our wingers to mix it up. Lee, what's your take on the lineup? Oh, double Lee.
It's 4 Guna Lees. Oh,
right.
Wrong one. There we go.
That's better.
Right. Let me just see. That's better, isn't it? Right. I'm going to lose that for a minute.
That's better.
Right. Hopefully I've got the right thing on there. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Oh, there's a time delay and a half, but never mind. So hopefully you can hear me. So my kind of take is I wasn't necessarily surprised about an unchanged lineup. However, as we've seen, I think Martinelli in particular is struggling a little bit with his form, and I kind of wondered if Trossard might have had a start from on this game. I also wondered a little bit about changing fullbacks a little bit in that. So I want to talk about a little bit about Zinchenko and the fact that what Zinchenko does is, he'll start in a left back position, but then he'll kind of wander into a midfield spot. What Kieran Tierney does and does better is staying wide and giving a little bit of an outlet and give an opportunity to cross the ball in. Now, when we are struggling a little bit, sometimes a cross into the penalty area isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just wondering, how well can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you.
Have I got wrong? You've got absolutely nothing. You're saying nothing to me.
Oh, well, we were just absorbed and entranced by your...
I can't hear you.
Oh,
brilliant.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't. I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Posh, take it if you can hear me. Take it.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So, we were saying about Kieran Tierney and what he does that Zinchenko doesn't. But yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. But yeah, I would think Liam, I'll talk about how we're missing Jesus again. We're missing him, aren't we?
We're really missing him. So we could hear Lee fine. Zinchenko, he comes in central to kind of team up with Partey, if you like. But then that leaves this huge gap, I find, because Xhaka doesn't really come out wide so much, leaving Martinelli just on his own out in the wing. And if he's double marked, because what Jesus does really well, and Tierney has come out to support him, he can't just do everything on his own. So he's being hung out to dry a little bit out there. So I mean, I agree with maybe starting Tierney. However, I would say that on any other game, I think it was right. But it's just on the. We'll talk about the Man City lineup, but he knows City because obviously he's a City player. But on that game, it was fine to start him. But yeah, there is this issue of Martinelli being a bit isolated. Are you good now, Lee?
I think so. I can hear you loud and clear. I think I can just about see myself. So that's good. Do you know what? It reminds me of the Wolves game, Posh. Everything was going wrong.
The Brentford. It was before the Brentford game, I think.
No, it was definitely
the away Brentford game.
Yeah.
Well, the mark of a champion is overcoming obstacles, right? Just like our team. So
overcoming the odds.
Yes.
Rising above hate. Loyalty, respect,
and technological difficulties.
Exactly, but we'll fight against it. That's not a problem. We can rise above it, can't we? So Niall Kane in the chat. Well done.
We'll get to that, Niall.
Yes.
Lee Mason has been replaced. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about Mr. Mason very, very shortly.
Boo.
So that was mature, wasn't it? That was almost as mature as me. But so okay, so we've got our starting lineup sorted out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of disappointed how flat we started. A little bit of void in ideas and a little bit void of direction in our general play.
Yes. Do you know why I found that odd as well? Because I was listening to the Latte Firm and Kaya, I can't remember his second name. Those guys who saw me last night would see I was talking about this. Apparently, their attitude going up to the Brentford game was just what you'd want in training for those who are watching training. Apparently, they were really driven, really determined, like up for the fight, ready for a comeback. And then after about 10 minutes, it just kind of reverted to that flat, slow ball, taking too much time, not very much intensity. Reverted to that, and I think that was really odd and disappointing to see.
Mr. Posh Bertie, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, I muted my mic. I had a bit of a cough, so I had to mute my mic.
1 minute,
You
guys.
don't want to hear me coughing on stream.
No worries. Listen, if we got to do this ourselves for a little bit, mate. That's no problem. Carry on. You and me both, because I tell you what, you can already hear my voice isn't quite as prominent as it normally is. I wouldn't be surprised if it conks out anytime soon, to be honest.
Sorry about that.
Hey, mate, I know what's going on down there, kind of, so it's fine. Posh.
Yes.
I asked you a question. I said, what your thoughts on the kind of mundane kind of start that we had?
Again, so the first half against Brentford, it wasn't much happened. I know that Brentford looked very organised, didn't they? It was quite difficult to break them down. Niall says, I think there's a cold going around. Oh, okay. No, I'm fine. I've not got a cold at all. I think I just had a bit of tickly throat. I think some water went down the wrong way. I'm all right.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Oh, of course. But yeah, Brentford are a very, very organised team. They're very difficult to break down, but they caused some problems in our area as well. And yeah, it's just it was very stressful first half. Obviously, I didn't see the game. It was a 3 p.m. kickoff. I didn't get a live stream or anything like that. I couldn't get a definitely legal live stream. But I couldn't. It was like that game against Leicester when I made my
You blagged it. Yeah, I remember. I was there.
But yeah, so half time it was 0-0. We needed a little bit of oomph, I think, to try and get us through, and we got there in the form of Mr. Trossard when he came on.
Hold up. In a minute. Because I do believe Brentford had a goal chalked off on the old VAR themselves, did they?
Okay, that I may have forgotten about because I'm too busy focusing on other VAR things. But yeah, did they? I honestly, this is how professional I am. I can't remember.
Wasn't it chalked off for a foul or instead on Gabriel? I think maybe.
Yes, Fran, you got it.
I actually remembered something for once. And yeah, I mean that seemed. I think it was quite. It looked like Gabriel just slipped over, so we were quite lucky. That was what I thought anyway. But then it got chalked off, and that really should have been a wake-up call to the guys if we weren't woken up already. But we just seemed to lull into this kind of 75% intensity place and just can't seem to shake ourselves out of it. They need like a massive Red Bull at halftime or like electric zaps. No, that's inhumane.
Oh wow! Okay, this is a different sort of training method I've never heard about before. I quite like the sound of it though.
Yeah,
put up the electrodes. I like it.
A metaphorical way of lifting themselves and lifting the energy, because I think it's so infectious when one person drops their head a little bit or moving with a little bit less intensity. I think it spreads across the whole team. And who's the figure? I know Odegaard gestures a lot, and he's kind of the one I see doing it the most. But I think we need more people in that team, like corralling and telling us, like, lift the level. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, something I think is quite clear on our play just lately is the fact that maybe Xhaka's not necessarily as influential as he was sort of pre-Jesus getting injured.
Yeah, he's kind of going missing a little bit. Would you say that? Right in the centre of the pitch, but not being too influential, as you say. And yeah, I mean, could it be Jesus missing? Like Eddie doesn't link up as much as Jesus.
I think Eddie's a very, very different style of forward to Jesus. I think Nketiah is very much a bit of a throwback, if you like.
Yeah.
A bit. If you know, I know me and Posh have this sort of running gag. Hello, Luca. Lovely to see you there, mate. Luca AFC is absolutely fantastic on his stream. If you want to see someone having a rant, he's the best one for it.
I love it.
I mean, I kind of wondered when you were talking to him. What was the word you look? So I think you said sometimes, you know, other YouTubes can be somewhat placid or so. What was a word like that?
Something like conservative in their opinions.
Yeah, I couldn't think of what you were talking about.
Because yeah, it's much easier to toe the line, isn't it? Because if you criticize any of our players too much, then the whole fan base comes down on you. Whereas Luca just like bulldozes through it, and I love it.
Luca doesn't care; he just goes for it, and I love it for it. It's great.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the Brentford equaliser. Other than that, but yeah, go on.
Don't go too early, Posh. I've told you about that.
Hold your horses.
Sorry, you're mentioning rants from Luca, but okay, go on.
Yeah. So okay, so we've gone in 0-0 and a little bit upset with each other. One thing I want to give Arteta a bit of credit for, he made a rather early substitution. He brought Trossard on quite early for Arteta, if you will. And it's funny because Martinelli was the one replaced. And it's funny because very shortly afterwards, our boy, new signing, got on the goal try. He opened up his account. Talk us through it.
Absolutely. I was so happy. I was so happy because I thought I said I think by the looks of things, I think we might need a bit of a change in our maybe a change in our attack. I think Trossard needs to come on. Don't know for who, but it turned out it was Martinelli in the end. And boy, I think the first early substitution we made in a while, and what a substitution it was, as I was saying. Trossard, his first goal for Arsenal. This was his fourth appearance, I think. Did he come on against Everton? I think he might have done. But he went on the score sheet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very pleased for him.
We had Odegaard linking up with Saka on the right-hand side, played that pacey ball in. That's something that I think we kind of lacked during the game somewhat. It was a low ball into the penalty area. Trossard managed to, I mean, you could call it a tap-in if you like. I thought it was one of them that you could very, very easily spoon over the bar, to be honest. But he kept his eye on it, straight into the net. 1-0 to Arsenal. We're thinking happy days, aren't we?
Well, yeah. I'm so impressed with his like composure and confidence and the way he comes on, and he's playing like how everyone was playing at the start of the season with that spark and that electricity, and now he's doing it, and everyone else seems to be a bit dull. Maybe not Saka, a few of them, but he really lifted the level of the game. But I quite like to see him come on and play with Martinelli. I think that could be a cool dynamic. But yeah, it was fantastic to see him score. He really deserves it. Yeah, just really great to get over that first goal hurdle. Hopefully more will come. I'd like to see more game time from him as well.
Absolutely right. Posh.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very pleased with Trossard, and yeah, I think Trossard and Martinelli would be interesting. As much as I love a bit of Saka action, but I think he does need a bit of a rest. He's been playing pretty much every single game for us, and
well, I would say front three of Martinelli, Trossard, and Saka.
Yeah, I've toyed with the idea of Saka as a striker.
I can see what your friend's saying. Referring back to Fran's stream yesterday, go ahead, Fran.
Which part?
What you're going to say about Trossard going as centre forward?
Oh yes, quite a few people have this opinion. We were discussing it yesterday. So Trossard going in because he's played centre forward before at Brighton, and I don't know whether he's Belgium, the Red Devils, I think.
Yeah,
but he's fantastic up front. I had him in my fantasy team all of like last season and stuff. He's amazing. So wouldn't it be cool to see? Yeah. Martinelli out wide, Saka out wide, Trossard up front, those three linking up. I think he's got that kind of unpredictability and movement and interweaving that Jesus has a bit more than Nketiah, and Nketiah could be like on a bit later in a game if we really need like just to finish some chances. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think like his overall gameplay is a bit more expansive than Eddie's. And Eddie, if you ever watch this, I'm so sorry. I love you, man.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, and I've been ridiculed for it, and and I'll stick by my my views on it. Eddie as a old-fashioned centre forward, I'm quite a fan of, and although it was a difficult match for him, I won't fault his effort and trying to get to the ball. I think he was rather starved of a little bit of service, to be fair, and maybe with the service that he did get, maybe it was a little bit too high up in the air and maybe not enough on the floor, a little bit like the goal that we just spoke about.
I think that he's got like that amazing quality in a striker, which is like being able to put away those chances. And with Arteta, like now that he's signed a new contract, Arteta will be able to develop him. Like, so he's got the most important part of being a striker, and now it's just like expanding his gameplay and like movement around the box and things like that. But yeah, he's got the main ingredient, I think, and his service was lacking a little bit, as you said. I mean, we seem to just kind of run out of ideas. Once it's like now teams have sussed us out. If Saka or Martinelli gets it, Saka not so much because he'll cut in a bit earlier, but they just like run into a bottleneck. They just run into a dead end, and with Nketiah miles away, like by the goal, it's just like there's not much. Xhaka and those guys, Zinni, like we need more options when those guys do get it out wide rather than just having to do everything on their own. But I sidetracked a bit. We were talking about go on.
Quite all right. It's quite all right. My kind of thought, and you say teams have kind of sussed this out a little bit. Now, I think, with kind of a half level head that I do have, is that we're talking about teams like Newcastle and Everton and Brentford to some extent, whereas they know that if they allow Arsenal to have time on the ball, they are going to get punished for it. And if you look in particular to the Brentford game, where they set up with that sort of 3-5-2, which almost turned into a 5-3-2 kind of thing, when when they didn't obviously have a lot of the possession. They had a lot of chances, like when they had like a little bit of old-fashioned long ball. Goalkeeper will take it up to Tony, and Tony does what he's very, very good at. His hold-up play is excellent, and he can slow the play down a little bit when he has the opportunity to do so. But I don't necessarily think, in particularly looking ahead to Wednesday, for example, when Manchester City come to our place, Man City are going to go out to attack, in particular with the knowledge that if they do go and win, of course, and I don't like to say this on an Arsenal channel, of course, but City will go top of the table, won't they? So this is why I think this is a heck of an opportunity for Arsenal to come back and, hopefully prove some of the critics a little bit wrong.
Yeah, I think. So. Oh no, go on, you, Bertie. I've spoken.
I said I hope so.
Yeah, no. That is where I do have a bit of hope. Obviously, the City will be playing their style, which is quite similar to ours, possession-based, expansive. And it could be I could see like more than 1 or 2 goals going in. We just got to make sure that when we're trying to exploit those spaces that City have when they're coming forward, we don't leave ourselves vulnerable for the counter. Because most of our goals kind of do come from other teams like countering us really quickly. I don't know. Is that a blanket statement? Is that what you guys think?
It's a fair statement, to be fair.
So yeah, we'll have to really watch out for that. But I mean, Man City aren't really a breaky team. They're similar to us, aren't they? They're possession based, like pass the ball, work their way in.
I think in particular when Brentford are at home, yes, absolutely right. They play the ball quite nicely, and they can really cause an issue. I said in particular, do you remember we spoke about this briefly, didn't we, Posh? That set plays in particular, they caused Liverpool an awful lot of problems.
Yeah.
In the game we spoke about. And what do you know?
Yeah.
Fran put a hand up, so well.
On that, I don't think this has really been discussed, but our set plays haven't been as effective recently, either defensively or attacking. Would you say?
I was, funny enough, it's almost like us as a team, we know what we're going to say to each other. Because I believe, after being so good at defending free kicks and all that sort of thing, corner kicks, all of a sudden we've had a bit of a period where we conceded 3 very, very quickly on the bounce. And I suppose this is going to be the fun part of the stream, isn't it, boys and girls?
Bring it.
Check my notes.
Oh my goodness! I mean, if you want, Posh, I'll put you full screen if you want to go full promo mode.
Oh God! Oh, go on then.
All right, hang on. There we go. It's all yours, son.
So the equaliser happened. Obviously, Ivan, nice kickabout with the boys. Tony getting a goal to make it 1-1. But it's the whole VAR situation. I think we need to talk about. There's pressure now because they expect a show. But look, this isn't the first time this has happened to us when we've dropped points. This has happened during the Man United game when we lost, during the Newcastle game where we dropped points, and now this. Look, so Lee Mason, the referee, the VAR referee, apparently forgot to draw the lines, making him the first referee in the history of football to do so. And Kevin Campbell on was it Sky Sports or Talk Sport? I think it was Sky Sports. I can't remember.
He was on Ref Watch today, mate. Yeah.
Sorry.
He was on Ref Watch today. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. But yeah, he said you don't forget. You don't forget to draw the lines. You either deliberately forget to do it, or you're genuinely incompetently. You're incompetent, and I just don't get it. I mean, we all know I make remarks here and there about, oh, they've got an agenda against us. It's all a plan. They don't want us to win the league, but it does feel like something deliberate is happening, because look at it. Look at the United game. Martinelli's goal that got disallowed. That was disallowed by VAR.
It's the same guy, Posh. It's the same guy
I was getting to
on
that.
the VAR.
Yeah.
He's from Manchester as well. He's from Manchester.
I know. Oh, they get a referee from Manchester in the game against Manchester United. Of course. Because of course you do. In the game against Newcastle, we had that penalty, last kick of the game, disallowed. It is completely ridiculous. Could Lee Mason be related to Ryan Mason? I don't know Ryan Mason, but I know Mason Ryan. No, Ryan Mason, former Tottenham player, of course. But it wasn't just Arsenal this week. It wasn't just Arsenal. And this is not going to be an Arsenal fan talking. This is a football fan talking now, because this did not apply to Arsenal this weekend. This applied across all of the other games. Thomas Souček literally punching the ball out of play like Luis Suarez against Ghana.
A great save.
Fantastic save. I mean, he's better keeper than Fabianski, let's be honest. And he
that was naughty.
And they ignored it. They didn't do anything. West Ham had a goal disallowed in the Chelsea game, and it took about 5 hours to complete it. It's completely ridiculous. You had the Crystal Palace Brighton game. Yeah. The Brighton player had a goal disallowed because the referee drew the lines on the wrong player. At least he drew the lines. At least he drew the actual lines when it was on the wrong player. You can't do that in the Premier League. You don't see it happening in Spain or Germany or any other league like that. It always happens here. They make these consistent mistakes. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Unless you're a Liverpool supporter, VAR is destroying football. And people are arguing, oh, should it be banned? Yes! Yes, it should be suspended.
No, listen. It's not VAR that's the problem. It's the people running it. Yeah.
That's my girlfriend. That's my girl.
You know, yeah. It's the same idiots running it that VAR was brought in to like stop all their mistakes, and then let's just put the same guys onto VAR. We need a complete overhaul.
Get rid of them. I mean, VAR is just. Oh.
Can I just tell you, Posh, when you went solo, when you went solo like that,
being disallowed like a goal is scored. It's ridiculous now. Anyway,
Can I just tell you, our viewership just soared when you just did that. It literally just soared. So the other one that you
can I also say this rant sounded a lot better in my head.
It sounded beautiful. It was magnificent. I think you spoke what a lot of us were feeling.
It was like poetry. I felt
it was beautiful.
I'm checking to see if I haven't forgotten anything.
I can say you forgot one. You can forget. You forgot one, and it was the Southampton player. Was it Southampton or was it It was Southampton Wolves, right?
Okay.
And wasn't there a Wolves player who got sent off for aggressively running up to the referee or something?
He was the third player to just walk up to the ref, and
I mean, what?
Well, didn't you know that number 3 is too much? And the guy just.
I thought 3 was the magic number.
It was just completely baffling. It was just.
But who's the third man, Posh?
Oh my word! Whose side is he on?
Exactly. Sorry, Fran, that's a wrestling reference.
Yeah,
I know that's chunky.
I assumed it was, but you know, the worst thing is like, I think it was the Chronicles of Aguna talking about this. If you make a mistake at work where one of your clients, like, say it's like us dropping points, like ends up losing, say 100K on a business deal or something, like you're getting investigated, maybe demoted, sacked. But these guys, it's just, slap on the cheek. If even that. There's no accountability.
It's like if you're a chef and you're cooking a roast dinner and you don't put it in the oven. That's what it's like.
It's raw.
Or if like, what was it? Did we listen to Arsblog this week? I was creasing. It was so funny. They were saying like, because I wouldn't. You have to see it to. But yes, anyway, you have to see it. Carry on. It's just ridiculous. It's insane, and they should have.
Arsenal should appeal for this, but they'll probably get fined for hurting their feelings or something stupid like that.
Yeah, us as Arsenal fans. Now, I think as football fans, we need to be consistent in this. Call it out as we have done today. When it happens, like against us, for us, against other teams, for other teams, it's just it's putting, it's as you say, it's diminishing the football side of it, and it's just like what idiot is going to make what mistake today, and like it's very suspect.
Okay, so what I think I'd like to do is play a little game with you now, guys. So okay. in light of the official statement coming out, thank you. Arsenal, the history and more. That is a brand new name for my on my chat, certainly. So welcome in, hello, and welcome to Gooner Gathering. It's lovely to have you here. So, what I think I want to throw is, there's an acknowledgement, right, of the decision that the lines not being drawn properly or at all, right? I want to draw a comparison for you. And there's an FA Cup match, Arsenal against Sheffield United. Maybe you two young ones might be a little bit young to know.
Is that Jez? Sorry to interject. Is that Jez from like Lee Gunner's channel and stuff? Is that the same Jez? I think it might be. Sorry.
Well, if it is, fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah,
Wonderful
it is.
stuff.
He's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So,
yeah, keep. I love it.
Can you put Lee Gunner a word in about us?
do you know what? I'd love to have Lee here. That would be amazing.
I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I know Lee just winds people up, but I'll
do that.
It's like a celebrity in the chat.
He's a ratings machine, though.
I've watched. I've watched Lee and Jez and Kenny like for over a year, 2 years. I've checked out your channel, Jez. It's an honor to have you here, and yeah, an absolute legend. You guys say your opinions.
Putting me under pressure now.
Sorry, I'm fangirling here. But yeah,
I love to see it. I love to see that your eyes just widened, guys. I love to see it. So
sorry to interject, but those guys are amazing. They really take winning or nothing. When a lot of us sometimes are okay with like top fours, top fours a trophy when it's not. And those guys, I know like the way. Sorry, Lottie, that's my sister. I know the way Lee sometimes says stuff, like rubs people up the wrong way. But we all just want winning, and we shouldn't accept anything.
That's the bottom line, isn't it? That's the bottom line. Winning is everything, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're all so worked up about this Brentford equaliser. So what I'm trying to get at, what I'm trying to get out of you is that it reminds me very, very much of an FA Cup game that we had with Sheffield United and Arsene Wenger's reign. It's very, very soon into Carnu signing for Arsenal, right?
Ooh.
So, yeah. You know where I'm going now, Posh, right? So,
I know the name Carnu quite well.
Right. So what had happened is that there was a Sheffield United player that went down and was hurt. But Ray Parlour was trying to take a throw on. I'm going to cough in a minute. I'm feeling a bit poorly. Excuse me. Right. Ray Parlour takes a throw on. And all of a sudden, Carnu has gone through ignoring protocol and trying to get the ball out of play for the Blades, goes on to scores. Right at the end of the game, as I'm struggling to talk, right at the end of the game, Arsene Wenger in the pre-match, post-match, saying, we don't want to win like this. They go and get the game replayed on our own back at Arsenal home ground, of course. So, I know it's not going to happen. I know that they're not going to replay the game. But what do you think? It's not what we think should happen. It's what we want to happen.
We want to happen. Oh, we're going to get sued now that we've said that. But okay.
I've been thinking about doing that all day, mate. I've been thinking about doing that all day. So I'm going to give you a couple of options. What do you think should happen? Should we, option A, get the whole match restarted, null and void? Should we, number 2, go from 1-0 goal quite rightly disallowed from Brentford and carry on, giving Brentford an opportunity to go and get themselves, by the way, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, a well-earned equaliser in terms of how they played during the actual game, trying to get it quite balanced.
But it was the way the equaliser was.
Yes, absolutely.
And if they probably they probably would have equalised properly. Who knows? We don't know that. But it's the way the equaliser was done. That's the problem.
Or option 3, just leave it as is, and we'll go into Manchester City and go and get a decent result and shut up some critics. What do you think?
It's a really difficult one, isn't it? Sorry, Bertie, were you going to go? Go on.
No, I was going to say that we need. I was going to bring up this comment here saying I will get you guys on my show sometime. Excellent, and in doing so, we just a bit of a one night only trade, if you will, to get Lee Gunner on Gooner Gathering, maybe. I'm just an idea. And also,
we'd love to see it.
Fran, contact Gracie May. You two will be
I
awesome
love
together.
Gracie May. I love Gracie May. Yeah, she's so sound. I love. She takes no bull. No, that word.
No
Dung.
sugar.
No bull sugar. Yeah,
No
she's
shizzle.
great.
Can I
Yeah.
just remind you two, before we go any further, that I'm very proud of the fact that we are very family friendly. So just be careful, please.
Yeah, I said nothing. I know.
I'm
Sorry.
not telling you off.
I managed not to swear during my promo, so
I loved it.
I can do.
I look forward to just going through that and maybe clipping a bit of it.
Gracie is brutal.
That's a viral Twitter clip waiting to happen.
Please, just that whole rant, just put it online. But Lee, in answer to your question, I mean, I think the fairest thing to do as an outsider who doesn't know the ins and outs, you'd say it would just be to replay the match. But then these players have such a hectic schedule, especially this season after the World Cup, all these extra games being fitted in. It just doesn't seem feasible. I think, do we need a VAR for the VAR? Do we need another office that then...
That'll get it wrong as well. Lee Mason will officiate that.
Well, they could be impartial European refs.
Get Stevie Wonder to do it and might do a better job.
I think most of us wouldn't mind if they take an extra couple of minutes if the right decision's reached. I would say just like, don't panic, you guys up there in the VAR office. Like, make sure the right decision is reached. Like, ask for a second opinion. I think just do the job properly. Is that hard enough to ask?
Before I jump in again, Posh, can you respond to Fran? And then I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can't abandon the match and start all over again, because that'd be ridiculous. That's why I'm a bit more furious, because you can't replay this match. You can't start all over again from the Trossard's goal onwards. You can't, and that's what's annoying, because I just think, could this be the goal that cost us the league? And obviously Brentford did well in the game. They caused us problems, and who knows, maybe they would have ended up equalising. We don't know. But with the equalising goal that happened, it's the way that it was conducted, the way the VAR, forgetting to draw the blooming lines. That's the issue that I had.
Okay. My turn.
Let's hear it. I've got one thing to add as well after. Go on, Lee.
Thank you very much indeed. So my feeling on this one, ladies and gentlemen, either live here on the stream right now or people that will be catching up later on demand, is that I think Lee Mason was a little bit concerned at the fact that he was taking too long to figure out whether there was a foul in the middle of the play. And I don't know if it was bothering him too much, but what on earth stops someone from drawing the lines in the offside? I do not understand why you have one job there, mate. You have one job. You get a little ruler, you get a little line, you go like this. Oh, he's offside. That's a shock to everybody. So, yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Thank you very much, Niall Kane, for calling me a brilliant analyst. As we all know, I'm a professional broadcast journalist. So yeah, and quite obviously, I'm doing my little piece here to provoke a little bit of discussion and all that. We all know at the end of the day, right, that this is gonna, they're just gonna sort of draw a line under it. That's funny, isn't it? But they're gonna forget it and
they remember.
Well, exactly. It'll be interesting to see where this meeting that I believe is scheduled for tomorrow. Was it Howard Webb, I believe, is the new boss of the referees on VAR, I believe. Former referee. Actually, not a bad referee, Howard Webb. But it'll be interesting to see how it all develops tomorrow. They're going to get every single one in Stockley Park. They're gonna have a little chat and see what on earth went on over this weekend. It's an embarrassment to the Premier League, right? That in so many matches over one weekend, things went so badly wrong for VAR. When you can see over in World Cup, in other leagues, how well VAR can actually work. It's mind blowing for me. And you guys are absolutely right in saying that goal could be so costly for us. But it just feels to me that it'll be so typical Arsenal, and from us to come back from adversity and then gives Man City a decent result. Obviously, it's going to be a great game. We're going to preview that in just a minute. We're going Man City coming up. We get a result out of them, and all of a sudden we have a little bit of a gap again, and see how City respond to it. I think that is Lee Solo's dream away and done.
Okay.
Fran, do you want to go? Do you want to go Solo?
Very, very well said, and I think we all agree with just how ridiculous it's been. But all right, it's Solo. My thing is, we need to. It's a shambles, okay, but it's at the moment it doesn't seem to be just at Arsenal. I think every team has gripes with VAR, and I think as sad as it is, it's just something we'll have to deal with till they sort themselves out, isn't it? So we need to control what we can control as a team, and these decisions will go for us. They'll go against us. Did we do enough to win that match? Do you think? I personally don't think we did. If we'd have got another 1 or 2 goals and then something like that happened, we're giving the chance of something going wrong with VAR too much power to influence our game. We need to, get ahead in the game enough so that if something like that happens, it won't derail us like it has this week. I think, unfortunately, it's just one of the evils we'll have to deal with this season. Hopefully, Howard Webb just crucifies them tomorrow. I'm done.
Fantastic, Fran. Thank you very much. So shall we? I don't think we've really talked much about the goal itself, other than our solo rants, if you wish, Fran.
Well, if we're going to talk about the goal, Niall's done a long comment. I'll look at that in a minute. Sorry. No, you right. Anyway, if we're talking about the goal, I know a lot of people have a bone to pick with Ramsdale, that he comes out but doesn't claim it, or I can't exactly remember what happened, but doesn't solidify getting it. What do you think, Lee? I know lots of people do have a bone to pick. Has these moments where,
yeah. So basically, I think it was from a free kick, which is somewhat questionable anyway, and the ball comes in from, I think, off the Brentford left. I'm desperately trying to remember it off the top of my head. I really wish I had some notes written down. I never had a chance today, so apologies, boys and girls, if I get anything wrong here. But ball comes in from the left, and I said it on my initial reaction stream that it was a little bit of head tennis. It was a bit of head going up here, head going up here, head going up here. Then, and I want to give Ivan Toney a bit of credit actually, because he's no matter what you think about him, and obviously there's a bit of an investigation and stuff under him. Actually, at the end of the day, he's a jolly good striker, and he's an incredible poacher. I love the comparison that Fran did yesterday with. I think it was you, or was it Luca, of him versus Ian Wright?
Yeah, that was
absolutely spot on. It was fantastic because that poacher's instinct, Ivan Toney has got that absolutely to a T.
I think he's amazing. He's amazing. I'd love him at Arsenal. He's brilliant.
He is absolutely. But like you said, because there's such a question mark on these betting charges and all that sort of thing, that's possibly why we never got in. You have to also bear in mind Brentford's ambitions as well. And we could have been very easily outpriced again, like we were on Modric and all this sort of stuff. But I do want to make sure I'm coming off this stream knowing that we've paid full credit to Brentford and how they got back in the game.
Yeah.
They have no effect on how, they do what
Yeah.
they're supposed to do, put the ball in the net, and they're waiting for the referee to make a decision. So I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to cough. I'm going to throw it to Fran.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that the fan base is so outraged. It shows that we are getting those high standards that we've drawn to Brentford, who are a really good side. They were in much better form than us going into this game, but still, we want those 3 points, and I'm glad that we're not just saying like, oh, a draw's fine, and everyone's on the whole quite disappointed.
And Thomas Frank, the manager of Brentford, he's done an incredible job with them. They're against the big six sides. The only side they've lost in the big six, if you will, the only side they lost to in that category is us away. And you can actually watch that. You can watch that our reactions on youtube.com/Cannon Chatter
Cannon
TV.
Chatter. It's the last one we ever did, mate, on Cannon Chatter.
It was. When one door closed, another one opened.
It did. But you kind of thrown my thoughts off because you mentioned Cannon Chatter. Right.
Brentford doing well, yeah.
Absolutely. So, where do we go from here? So, there wasn't an awful lot more to talk about the game itself. There was an attacking substitution, which I'll briefly touch upon. Fabio Vieira on for Xhaka. In an effort to try and win us the game. Cannon Chatter
was a good channel.
Do you know what? Personally, I'm sure I could talk for Posh Bertie here as well. I learned so much from absolutely everybody on Cannon Chatter, from Stephen to G to Lottie. There was so many good people on that channel, and they gave me confidence to be able to come in front of a camera and to kind of lead a discussion, do a whole blooming commentary. That was kind of my thing. So, God bless them. And coming up very, very soon, in fact, it is that week. I believe sometime this week we may see a Cannon Chatter invasion this week. So make sure
under siege.
Make sure I haven't said this on the stream since I finished up over there. Make sure you keep chatting. So yeah, Fabio Vieira come on. He was only given about 10 minutes or so. He wasn't given an awful lot of time on the field, but the one opportunity he really had to do something a little bit special right at the end of the game. There was a free kick that ended up being catching practice for the goalkeeper. Whistle went, and it's a disappointing 1-1 draw. So
he didn't really change the game, did he? I mean, it's nice to give Xhaka a rest, but it was kind of much of a muchness, and I want to see a bit more from him. It's good that he's getting the minutes, but yeah, I want to see him really affecting the games a little bit more. He's got the technical skills, isn't it? It just looks like a confidence and strength thing.
The fact he's only getting a very, very minimal amount of game time, I don't think is helping him, to be honest.
No.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Nice chatting with you, lovely people. Thank you very, very much for being with us. If you're about to leave us, thank you so much. And if you want to get in touch with us, find us at Gooner Gathering on Twitter. Chuck us a DM. We'll get in touch. There's our socials. You can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find the man to my, he's over there now, Posh Bertie at Posh Bertie. You can find us at Gooner Gathering. You can find this lovely young lady, thank you very much, at Cine Sketches. We have your banner all prepared and ready for you, mate.
Thanks. And everyone go and follow obviously Jez as well. So Arsenal, the history and more. Just type it into YouTube. He knows more than 99.9% of people about this club. So yeah, honor having him in the chat.
Absolutely, we are blessed. Thank you very much indeed. So I think personally that kind of wraps us up talking about Brentford. I don't think I could talk about that for too much more.
Let's get into the meat.
The meat. Sean Stasiak is coming in.
Wednesday. Just get into it. Aw, that's
Thank
big.
you. Listen,
Thank you, Jez.
much appreciated. Listen, we are very, very early doors into doing our thing here. And listen, honestly, especially during the match times where I would actually be in my living room and literally giving an audience with my wife and my little girl, I'd literally be giving the whole match commentary, even without the camera on. I'm very grateful to all the guys that have helped me out, and particularly this young man who we started this channel up with, Matt Roberts, Sam Wilson. I was literally just about to mention him. We
Say his name, he appears. He's like
it's
Candy
magic. Man. Absolutely, absolutely. And it'd be remiss of me to thank you so much again, Jez. Nice one, mate. And if we put Sam Wilson up again, just for a second, because it'll be remiss of me to say without going any further. We had the live watch along of the cup tie against Manchester City, and yeah, we'll say good evening if you wish, Sam. Thanks, mate.
It was a bad evening, Sam. You don't mention that.
And do you know what? And do you know what? Unfortunately, we had the same fixture, the Manchester City game, up at the Academy Stadium in Manchester for the WSL game, and unfortunately, it was a 2-1 defeat. I know. It was a bad start from the Arsenal ages as well, because we conceded a goal really, really early doors. I think within about 3 or 4 minutes. But if I go through, I'm trying to remember the scores, because Sam, if you're just coming into the chat, mate, I'm literally just not been here very long. I had bus issues, as Fran knows, as I was talking to her on WhatsApp. But Arsenal conceded a goal really early, about 4 minutes down. I think it was Lauren Hemp, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2-0 because Chloe Kelly that scored. She probably should have been suspended because she should have been sent off in the cup tie. Raffaelli scored ahead to try and get Arsenal back in the game. But unfortunately, who knows how long we could be streaming for.
I'm here for another half hour, but then I've got to go.
No worries. I don't know how long my voice is going to carry on, to be honest. But yeah, Raffaelli scored a consolation in the end for 2-1 to Manchester City. So it's Manchester United are at the top of the table as well. Oh dear, I think I'm going to cough again. But we'll go in ahead to the Manchester City game. So, would you guys make changes with starting 11? As I'm about to really have a big coughing fit.
Okay, can I go, Bertie?
Yes.
Can I go? Okay, I cannot stress, and I think we all know just how important this game is. A lot of people are calling it like the Premier League final, which is, like overstating it a bit, but it's really true, because whichever way things go will be such a big confidence boost for either team. It will really sway the media narrative. If Arsenal don't win this, then you know what the media is going to be like. And that does affect the players. It does. Like, even subconsciously, they still read these headlines and it will knock their confidence. It is massive. I cannot stress how important it is that, I've just seen that. Yes. I mean, it's Lee's show, but like for a little Man City preview.
I'm absolutely up for it. If one of you two can make it happen, that would be amazing.
Okay.
The link is in the WhatsApp group, Posh.
Okay.
Oh, this is amazing.
It's going to be a run-in. My goodness me.
Whoa! We've got a celebrity guest.
Can you imagine? Wow. Okay. A game, everyone.
Jez, what's your Twitter? Because if you have a DM,
is he at Arsenal the history and more? Is that it, Fran?
I don't know what your Twitter is though, Jez, or if you have it. Do you have it? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if you could chuck it in the chat, I'll let my sidekick deal with the admin side of it.
Yep.
And if you wanted to come off stream and get the admin done, that'd be good. He's on Insta.
Yeah, Insta.
Posh is on Insta.
Right.
Well, yeah, we'll let Posh deal with it, and we can we can preview Man City.
Goodness.
How do you think?
I don't know about you, Fran. My health's just going up a bit. I've just seen the chat going up. Right, okay. So, as Posh can deal with admin, we'll come to the Manchester City game, shall we?
Yeah.
I suppose the obvious question is, what do we do with our starting 11? First and foremost.
That's the question. Actually, I'll check on Twitter because I did a poll. So you go what you think, and I did a thing on Twitter. It got like 300 votes of whether we should keep the starting 11 or change it. So let me see what the Gooners are saying.
Okay, all right then. Well, put the founder on under pressure. Let's think. Well, my initial thoughts were Trossard probably has earned his start on terms of form. But I'm also conflicted because I know how well Martinelli does against Manchester City. Sorry if I put my hand on the microphone. I didn't mean to do that. I'm supposed to be a professional now. I'm getting flustered. Right. So yeah, maybe I've got to go with my head rather than my heart. I've got to think that Trossard has got to be a really good addition to the starting 11. He's ready for it. Let's be fair. He's already scored 8 Premier League goals in the season.
Yeah.
7 for Brighton, 1 for us. I'm definitely up for seeing him in the starting 11.
His head seems in the right place as well. His mindset. Do you know what I mean? He's up for it. But
it's almost like you've read that from the comments, to be fair.
Oh. What? Where?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh.
So
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking with Tomiyasu a little bit as well, in a little bit of creativity. Right back position is more natural to him. I think Ben has been struggling a little bit. If you go back when we were all together doing the Man United game and Ben got pulled at half time because Rashford was giving them the run around and he was also on a bookie, I possibly would put Tomiyasu at right back.
Interesting. I would agree, but you could argue that he hasn't had much game time at all recently, and this is where we have the criticism of the lack of rotation from Arteta. When we do need to make a change now, Tommy's been sat on the bench for lots of games. I don't know off the top of my head. So are we going to throw him in first time against Man City? That's why we need to rotate a bit more. Sorry, I was just reading the chat.
So am I.
Oh no! Oh, I thought I was doing it off my thing.
No.
I was just asking, Jez, if you are still in the chat, please give me your Instagram or your Twitter or whatever.
I think I know it. I'll have a look.
You want to jump on?
I'll have a look.
I've copied the link down.
Fair enough. Okay, so we'll keep the chat going a little bit. I kind of thought Paul Merson was a little bit harsh in criticism of Saka over the weekend. I definitely feel that it'll be unjust for him to be taken out of the starting 11. I also like the physical threat of Eddie Nketiah in terms of the like I mentioned, the old school centre forward, the predator. I think I'd like him alongside perhaps Trossard and perhaps alongside Saka. That's kind of my feeling, but we'll see how that will play out. In terms of Manchester City, interesting injury developments over the weekend with Haaland going off at half time. Now, do we think that's a little bit of a precaution? Do we expect him to play? I know we're not medical experts and all that sort of thing, but do we think a little bit of mind games, or do we think or do we think there's a genuine issue there?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a knock. I don't know. He was substituted at half time, so it looks like they want him to play against Arsenal. But in terms of whether Haaland might start or not, in my opinion, if Haaland doesn't start, it's great news for Man City because Haaland does not turn up in big games. If he this is going to be famous last words because if I say this, he'll start and get like 7 goals against us. He'll have the game of his life. But apart from the game against Man United when they won 6-3, Haaland has not turned up against the other big 5.
Go on, Fran. Your thoughts on that massive statement from the poshest man in sports entertainment?
I'm not saying he's rubbish or anything. He's not. He's very good, but.
I'm back. Haaland does not show up in big games. Now he's going to score a hat-trick, and it's going to be your fault, Posh Bertie. You little...
I don't believe it. You've gone into Goldbridge.
Oh, I'm fuming. If this happens, I'm blaming you. So I personally think it's Pep, isn't it? It's probably mind games. He's going to start. The Man City fans that I've seen on Twitter and things think that it's mind games. Haaland's fine. So we should be prepared for either eventuality. But we've seen that without Haaland, they survived all of last season without him. They've won the league without a front man.
Alvarez is a great striker as well. So
yeah, they have goals in their team.
World Cup winner coming off the bench.
Yes.
Yeah, Grealish.
Only in Man City can do that.
Yeah, Grealish is playing well as well. I think he could be a handful. In fact, all of their team are just very, very good, aren't they? But so
they're
are
not bad.
I imagine Haaland will make an appearance. I would place money on that.
Yeah.
But the thing about Manchester City as well is something that I've brought up previously is the fact that they are going to go and attack properly. They're going to go and play proper football. Yeah. You don't have a side with De Bruyne. You don't have a side with Mahrez. You don't have a side with Haaland and set up to defend, do you? So that's why I think this is a great chance for Arsenal to go and get them at, trying to almost replicate what opponents have been doing to us. I've got to go again.
Yeah, and someone said this during the early stages of the FA Cup game, Man City Arsenal. This won't be a game of football; it'll be a game of chess. These are sides that do not want to make mistakes, and if you make one mistake, your game plan's going to go out the window. It's one of those games, and I'm not going to lie. I am nervous ahead of it. It's the biggest game of our season, but I hope, Lee, you're right. We can prove the critics wrong. It is at home. We do have the home advantage. There's a chance that the whole Haaland doesn't turn up in big games hypothesis actually is a massive lie, and he actually turns up and does very well.
Goodness me, that was a long word.
It's 30. What do you expect?
Yeah, true.
Exactly. But we'll see what happens because Alvarez, if he starts, that's a problem because he's a very good striker. Haaland can turn up if he does. Who knows? But I think it'll be like watching a bit of a technical masterclass, like watching Bret Hart against Ric Flair or something, like a big, technical masterclass.
I don't think now's the time, mate. I really don't think now's the time for
that.
Yes, I mean, we can hope that Pep will do a galaxy brain moment and just do something really odd because it is such a big game, like he tends to do in the Champions League. Yeah, that's what. Have you heard that expression, the galaxy brain thing? So when Pep overthinks things, that's Pep doing the galaxy brain.
I thought it meant his brain turned into chocolate.
Oh no.
Galaxy. Yeah, Jez, if you...
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, God, everyone's going to join now.
No, I have admin power. You're forgetting this.
Okay.
But there you go, Jez. If you want to jump in, mate, there you go. There's the.
Yeah, we need Jez's thoughts on this game. But for me, we have the minerals. Okay, we say they've got good players. We also have good players. We can win this. For me, the deciding factor is our attitude going into it. That really is it, because we've got just as much talent as them, just as much. It's just how I hate this saying which Arsenal shows up. Like that's like last season. We've been so consistent, and then it's just the last couple of games have knocked that confidence a little bit, that we'll know what they're going to look like when they show up. So for me, it really is about their attitude going into it, and we'll know within the first 5 minutes, are we going to be up for it and play our game? I think we need to play how we've played for 90% of the games this season, playing our game, quick, attacking. But we've noticed, I mean, we worry about their attacking as well, but before the last couple of games, we've been able to deal with threats on the counter really well. We've had a good balance of having a few of our players stay back in anticipation of a break, and everyone else doing their thing higher up the pitch. So it's just whether we can really tap into that winner's mentality, and also be prepared to maybe go a goal down and bring back that mentality of whatever happens, we will get this done. And I think it's a big job for Mikel and the team to get their head in the right place. But I can't wait to hear Jez's thoughts on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a run-in. Hi, Jez. How are you?
Hello, Jez. Welcome in, mate. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. So
big fan.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Fran. So we've just started talking about Manchester City. I'll ask you the same question as I've asked these guys. So after our weekend performance against Brentford, what are your thoughts on a starting lineup perhaps for Manchester City? Do we think we should make some changes?
Yeah, totally. Big changes. Tierney start, Trossard start. It's quite clear Martinelli is isolated on that left. He doesn't get the support from Zinchenko, who, for some reason, maybe it's a tactic of Arteta, likes him to cut into midfield, leaves him isolated. It's quite clear that when Tierney is overlapping Martinelli, he is far more functional. And it's just not working. It's just not working down that left. The fact that Zinchenko cuts inside every time leaves us exposed. It proved that on Saturday. We got bullied down that left-hand side, and we have players that have certainly gone off form. Ben White, since coming back from the World Cup, has not been the player. Now, let's get it right. I never wanted him. He was absolute pony the first season, but fair play to the fella. Start of last season, he's been class. Something happened at that World Cup. I don't know what. I'm not going to make any aspirations or anything on it, but something's gone wrong. Now
he left early, didn't he?
Yeah. He came home, supposedly family issues. I don't believe that. I think he had a massive fallout with Southgate. And also, we have a misfiring midfield. The midfield at the start of the season, from the start of the season, I think it's been immense. My favourite player, not Granit Xhaka, has been.
You fit right into this channel.
Let's put it. You got to big up people when they've done it right. Now, when he told us all to F off, personally, I thought he should have been kicked out of the club. Personally, because back in the days of Graham, George Graham, etc., he would have been out down the road. That was not acceptable. Now, the fact is, what going down is that he has been immense this season, and we cannot deny that.
His best season he's had in an Arsenal shirt, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you, man. But I think also Thomas Partey is misfiring. I think he's still carrying the injury he picked up against Man City in the FA Cup game.
Yeah, the
He's not what he was. So, we have issues, people. We never got the striker that we were asking for in the January window. Again, Arteta, you have failed.
Or Edu. Maybe Arteta wanted it.
Edu mostly, let's be honest.
Yes, I was going to come on to that, Fran. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Edu likes, being on jet skis, likes playing with his daughter's feet. I don't know what's going down there, but it all seems a bit weird to me. But
it's not my cup of tea, Jez, to be fair.
No, not for me either. But the fact of the matter remains here, people. We are going into one of the biggest games of the season for us on Wednesday night. Yeah. And we have no second team. Nobody. We're going up against one of the best teams in Europe. And we have no second team because we are going to be in deep, deep crap if we don't perform. And look, we've seen this happen before. I remember in 2002, 10 points clear. And
I was there.
Against Man United. 10 points clear. And then Arsenal started showboating. Do you remember the classic game? I was at the game. Bolton Wanderers, 2-0 up. It was 3-2.
Yeah, I remember. That
Because
hurts even now, mate.
Started to take the piss. And, okay, they were a fantastic team. I won't deny that. But you can never do that in top elite football. Now, we were going into this game, people, and it's going to be a hard, hard night on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Seriously hard night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking forward to it. I'll be honest with you. I always look forward to games to a point. I'm not looking forward to this one. Because I can
That's
see
interesting.
I can see us getting undone and embarrassed. And if that defence don't turn up, because they haven't for the last few games, it's going to be one hell of a shit show. And we could be seriously, seriously embarrassed.
Fair enough. So we've mentioned a little while ago our defensive record actually has been pretty good in terms of set plays up until recently, where we've conceded 3 really, really quick on the bounce. Is that a concern to you right now, mate?
I think at this point in time, our defence has done well. I think we've still got the second best defensive record in the league outside of Newcastle United. But that could be all broken down on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I'm not falling for this old trick. Haaland injured. I'm not falling for that.
Nah.
I think he took him off to protect him. Let's get it right. Pep Guardiola is a very, very clever and shrewd man. He's a mind gamer, very much like Sir Alex Ferguson. Yeah?
Yeah.
And Arteta is the sort of prick that will fall for it. Because he's worked with him. Let's not get it wrong here. Pep Guardiola knows a lot more about Arteta than Arteta knows about Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
And there's a senior-junior dynamic that he can work with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally respect your comment. That is an absolute fact. The fact is that, it's a bit like, you're going up against your old school teacher. You've got respect for him from what was in the past, and you're a little bit of an underdog there. So you're like, I'm sorry, Arteta does not. Okay, I'll ask you this question, guys. Where's Plan B?
I think that's a fair point. Plan B has been a little bit absent of late.
Plan B is at Chelsea.
Yeah, true. It's a fair point. But Plan B is somewhat hampered by the fact that Jesus has been currently sidelined, I feel. But look, we'll throw it to Posh. What do you think, mate? Plan B.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that Trossard could be a good option there, but he's basically a player to give someone either Martinelli or Saka a rest, but we can't really rest those kind of players in a game like that. That would be a bit careless, in my opinion. But yeah, I think should Trossard start in some capacity?
Yep.
Go on, Jez. Yeah, absolutely. And who for?
Martinelli.
Oh, I think we agree on that one. I mentioned that about 20 minutes ago.
So Arteta's got the zero tolerance policy. It's saying that he's ruthless, but when it comes to players' forms, I don't see that ruthlessness in the way he manages them. He's too loyal to them. He needs more of, if you're not playing well, you're not playing. That's my opinion.
I think that was a quiz. Go on, sorry, Jez.
He's absolutely arrogant. It's his way or it's the highway. And if you've watched me long enough on Lee's show with Kenny, you'll know my opinion. And I've been slated for it, and I've still got little muppets that come in on my channel and call me out. I really don't give a
monkeys.
I don't care. But at the end of the day, I am what I am. I say it from I've been around this club for far too long. Yeah. So I'll say what I say, and if people don't like it, they don't like it. I don't give one, but it is what it is. So, and this is the facts, Fran. What I was saying to you earlier is Gracie May. Her family grew up in the same road in North London that my grandparents did, Gillespie Road, right opposite the North Bank, and that's how I started watching Arsenal. So, I've been around a long time in this bloody club. I've seen the good times. I've seen the bad times. I remember before you guys were ever born in 74, 72, Arsenal were proper crap.
Yeah.
And seriously, I mean, seriously crap.
Yeah, listen, I'm proud to look back as far back as I can possibly go. I can certainly recall a bit of 71 on the double side, but then the sort of period after that sort of fell away quite a while, didn't it? And then
shocking, man. Well,
and then
in 74, so it was poor times. But at the end of the day, it's been 18 years, longest period in history since Arsenal have won a league title.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be just like Arsenal to do it the hard way as well, Jez? Especially sort of after a performance like Saturday, where it felt like it was such a struggle to get past a very good. I know we've made the point of trying to make sure that we're saying that Brentford had played jolly well to get the point that they did, but wouldn't it be just like Arsenal to come into this game where we I think from the starting whistle, Man City are going to be starting very differently to the likes of a Brentford or an Everton or a Newcastle, where they're going to go out and try and play their football.
I think what's going to happen. I think Arsenal will come out fast and hard. It has worked. They get the early goal. Now we're playing a different quality of team here. We're playing Man City, right? And if that tactic doesn't work after 20 minutes, let's say, what's Arteta going to do?
Man City aren't going to hold back. They're going to go for it, aren't they?
They will flood the midfield, and then let's get it right. Their midfield is a lot better than ours. Yeah,
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Look at who they've got in that midfield. Now, I'm not falling for this old trick of Haaland. I'm not falling for that. Seen it, been there, seen it, done it loads of times. They've got Grealish, who's playing well. Mahrez.
Form of his life.
All right, he took the piss out of himself at the weekend by saying, has that ball still landed? Because it went like up to the moon and back.
Yeah.
But, when you got a player with that confidence and that mindset, it's a big ask, man. It's a big ask. And We just do not have the ability to. Yeah, I've heard the statements. Oh yeah, but we went up to Man City in the FA Cup with 5 players out, and we lost 1-0. Yeah, you lost. You lost 1-0.
I think if they'd have been playing their B team, they'd have won. Like their bench is unreal. Their bench is so much better than ours.
They got 2 teams. They got 2 teams. We've got 1 and a bit.
Yes, and if our 1 doesn't, get the job done, and we've still got 40 minutes to play, as you say, what's going to come off the bench? The way we win this is like some moments of miracles, basically, from Saka and whatnot. But if we keep trying and it's not happening, really, it's panic stations, isn't it?
I'll just ask you this quick question. That bench on the weekend, there was a certain player in there. You ever heard of him?
Does he begin with J?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that could be 2, isn't it?
I think I know which one you're going to go for.
Double-barreled name. I've never heard of him. Who is he? Was it another piss take by Arteta that he did at Brentford? Do you remember at Brentford he brought on the 16-year-old, 15-year-old?
15-year-old, me and Posh were commentating on it.
We watched that live.
Do you remember that?
It was 3-0.
You're referring to the.
Really matter.
You're referring to the striker, aren't you? And I know exactly who you meant. I can't picture his name straight off the top. I know exactly who you're talking about.
He wasn't on the bench for the Brentford game, but I know who you're on about.
Yeah, he turned up, came on, never heard of him since, never seen him since.
Yeah.
And at the weekend, we had another one. I never heard of him. Who was he?
Apparently, they do that to convince them to sign new contracts at the academy.
Right.
So they'll say like, "Oh, look, this is what you could have. We want to see you in the first team in the future."
Yeah. I think the guy you're talking about had been on the bench for a handful of games prior, but I think he's largely there because, of course, Emil Smith-Rowe picked up another injury and is trying to get back to fitness, etc., isn't he? And it's trying to have an option. I don't think there was any likelihood, and you're probably very much the same thinking. There was never any likelihood of him getting on the field on Saturday, but like you say, we had the young man, 15 years old, make that appearance, and then all of a sudden it's another one off the conveyor belt. But it was an interest. It does show the fact that we probably did need another option up front. I think that's probably absolutely right.
But don't you think? I mean, let's go back in time, shall we? Let's go back to the 2000s and on. Did Arsenal stick academy players on the bench?
Well, you see an odd one here and there, but it's a rare one, isn't it? I remember the likes of an Adrian Clark coming in. I remember the likes of a Scott Marshall coming in under George. But there was
League Cup games they did. You didn't see it in the Premier League because back in the Premier League days, we had 2 teams.
Yeah,
you could name 2 teams that could possibly be on the field and on the bench. Could you honestly name 2 teams now that could compete in the Premier League?
I don't think our squad's quite up to quite the same level as City. No, not quite. No. I mean, I would probably go as far as saying the 11 and the starting 11 and a bit. I think you mentioned that have probably been punching a little bit above their weight in terms of expectations as such. But here's the thing, because as Arsenal fans, we're getting the taste of it could happen. It could happen.
One win and suddenly, oh my God, we're the best.
Yeah. We get the taste of it, and all of a sudden, as Niall Kane tells us, it's 1-0 to Liverpool in the Merseyside derby.
Yeah.
There it is. I haven't seen that. I haven't got it in front of me. So,
Salah
there,
scored it apparently.
but sorry, who scored it?
Salah.
Salah. I've never heard of him. No.
Yeah.
But it's about time he registered about 5 after nothing. But yeah, you're quite right. It's a case of City have got an embarrassment of riches, as there's confirmation. Nunes with the assist and Salah with the goal. It's an embarrassment of riches. You could make any number of changes of that City squad, and they could go out and absolutely wipe the floor of everyone. And that is probably part of the concern that's coming up to Wednesday. The fact that we've had up to now, an unbeaten stretch at home, but yeah, you do wonder, are we going to be stretched too much coming up to Wednesday?
Sorry, you guys. I'm absolutely loving this. Like, please, Jez, keep talking about Wednesday. I'm learning so much, but I've got to head because I need to have my dinner before another stream. But I'll keep on listening, and thank you so much, Jez, for coming on. This has been an amazing stream, guys. I'll let you carry on.
Thank you very much, Fran,
No worries.
and you can find her there. Seen these sketches on Twitter. She's doing her own streams as well. God bless you, Fran. Look after yourself and catch up with you soon.
Contact me, Fran. I'll get you on the stream.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll get you on. I'll get you on. Yeah, get you guys on. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. See you guys soon.
Cheers, care. Fran. God bless her, Fran. Make sure you give her a follow on Twitter. She's doing some amazing stuff with her artwork as well. And like I say, she's just started streaming herself as well. So she's doing some fantastic stuff. So next point. So I suppose it'd be a good time to ask you. So what your feelings coming up to the match? How do you think we're gonna go? As a result, what your predictions for the match?
Well, as I said, I'm a little bit nervous. It's fair to say. It's obviously not going to be an easy game. It's Man City, obviously. I think it's. Oh, I don't know. I will go. Or in terms of predictions, I'll go for 1-1. I'll sit on the fence. I don't know.
Do you know what? A draw's not a bad shout. What do you think, Jez?
Are we being the league? So
are we being too optimistic, Jez?
I'm joining you in that one, mate. I'm going 1-1. I think it's going to be a very tight game.
Yeah.
But it's a big but. If Arsenal's defence don't turn up, because I think Arsenal will come out fast, they'll come out hard, looking for the early goal to put Man City on the back foot. But the fact is they have a better midfield. They could overwhelm us. And I think it's going to be cagey. Yeah. I do. And I'm going with you on that one, mate. I'm going with a 1-1.
Yeah, it's about because I've been saying in the big games for Man City, apart from the one against United when they won 6-3, Haaland has not turned up that much in the big games. It'll be interesting to see if that trend continues, because if Haaland does turn up, by God, it's going to be a very long night.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He certainly gave Rob Holding a night he's probably still having nightmares about in the FA Cup, to be honest, isn't he?
You can say that about a lot of people regarding Rob Holding sometimes, to be honest.
You're not a fan, mate. You never mentioned before.
Yeah.
But so I think we've got that coming up. It's probably a good time to say that post Manchester City, I think we'll come on the channel here at Gouda Gathering. We'll certainly have a little chat about what's gone on. We won't do the live match because I think it's kind of pointless because it's on Amazon Prime and it's probably people watching on apps anyway. But I think as we've been on nearly an hour and 3/4, and I think my voice is running out. Before we head out, Jez, would you like to give yourself a bit of a shout out on where people can find you on Twitter or Instagram or wherever they can find you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. It's collins.jez on there. And the show, YouTube show, is Arsenal, the history and more. Basically, I talk about the history of Arsenal. I'm doing a podcast tomorrow, 6 o'clock in the evening. Kenny Ken, Gracie May. Each week, I like to get different guests on. I've got a Brentford fan on tomorrow night, Mr. B for Life, to give us his perspective of the game from the weekend. And I just like to get different people on, give their views. It's a great friendly show. We have a chat, a debate, have a laugh, which is what it's all about, really, having a laugh. And thanks for having me on, man. Thanks for inviting me on.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Give my love to Lee Gunner. It'll be good. Put a word in to the likes of Lee Gunner and Kenny Ken. You know,
absolutely,
it'd be good for our channel.
Get the algorithm excited, etc.
I'll tell you what, I can probably get Kenny on with me. Lee's a different animal. He's so busy.
Yeah.
Can totally understand that as well.
I mean, even I have trouble getting him on, and but he does every month or something like that. But yeah, Lee, you've got to remember, Lee's full time. He's a full-time YouTuber, and he's on channels all over the place and everywhere. So he's a busy boy, and he's got two channels, and he's got Lee Gunner. Obviously, he's got Lee Gunner Reacts, which is nothing to do with football. It's all about other shit. So I can probably get if you get in contact with me. I have put in the chat there somewhere. That's one of my personal emails. Contact me there. Give me your details, and we'll sort something out.
Fantastic, Jez. Thank you so much for giving up your evening and coming on such short notice as well. We really appreciate your time. So thank you so much. I am Goonerly Meads. The gentleman to my left, I'm not used to seeing you over there, Posh. He's at Posh Bertie. We are at Gooner Gathering. Thank you so much for watching our stream. Make sure you give us a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for being here tonight, guys. And we'll catch you on Wednesday night post-match for Man City. So take care, and we'll see you soon.